What's up, Pugilism Planet? You know what it is. You know who it is. The JR to the O to the O to the S. Yes, I'm so fresh. No less. I don't take no mess. Don't guess who it is. Word to biz. Marky. Let me start the party. I don't talk no malarkey. Yay. Dropping bars on y'all. Come on in, Pugilism Planet. It's time to talk some heavyweight boxing. Some heavyweight BOXIN to the G, baby. Come on in, everybody. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Let the games begin. I'll sip on my smoothie while y'all come on in to the party, baby. What's up, y'all? Come on in. I want to talk about something we've been talking about for years now, but hopefully we're coming closer to the truth. You know that song by Tony Joe White? Emmanuel, yo, what's up to you? Shout out to you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the love. Just talking some heavyweight boxing or, whatever fight y'all want to talk about or fights. We can definitely do this. Shout out to all the great platforms out there. Andrew Tucker World, DT3, the Boom Man, Tony's Reviews, Counterpunch Boxing News with Kurt. Kurt, KD. Shout out to Showbiz the Adult. What's up with you? Shout out to Boxing Wave, Mr. Boxing Today too, Boxing on the Edge. Now, I hear that Eddie Hearn is waiting to see what happens between Usyk and Fury before he can make a move on who AJ's next opponent is. It's either going to be probably Hergovich, I'm thinking, until the winner of Fury and Usyk, because it's like Eddie Hearn was saying, AJ's had 4 fights in 11 months. So, at some point he's going to need a little bit of a break. And they don't want, I guess, to give any soft touch a fight, because look what happened with the Andy Ruiz thing that blew up in their face. So they don't want somebody to come in and ruin any big fights by having some no name come in there and have a good night and defeat Anthony Joshua. So I think it might be Hergovich, not sure. But we're going to eventually have to see Fury versus Anthony Joshua. That's just all there is to it. Sports predictions. Shout out to Sports Predictions. Go subscribe to my dude Sports Predictions, man. He knows the sport well. Go holler at him on his platform. Yeah, man. He's been down for a while. Go subscribe to my dude Sports Prediction or Sports Predictions. I appreciate that, man. Sports Prediction 101. It won't shock me if Usyk and Fury have won with each of their 2 undisputed fights. All right, what does it say? It won't shock me if Usyk and Fury. I'm waiting for the comment to move up a little bit. Emmanuel Broderick says, It won't shock me if Usyk and Fury have one win each for their two undisputed fights. That could definitely happen. That could definitely happen, man, because both guys look like they're in tremendous shape. I've never seen Fury in such great shape, maybe ever. But me and a couple other platforms are wondering if he's almost losing too much weight. You don't want to play in Usyk's hands and get down to like to a weight where you're not comfortable at just because you know your guy's a mover. So I want to see Fury come in probably around 260 ish, maybe 255. So he's got to still have a weight advantage and to put his weight on Usyk, and also when he goes to the body, he wants to have some force behind it. So I'm hoping he's not losing too much weight. And even if he loses, I still want to see Fury versus Joshua. I mean, look how many times Fury fought Chisora, and then he fought Wilder 3 times. It reminds me of Riddick Bowe. He had them 3 fights with Evander Holyfield, 2 fights with Galata, and just wouldn't face Lennox Lewis, and we were all waiting for that fight. Never happened. And like I said, Galata beat Riddick so bad if he would stop throwing the low blows. He beat him so bad that his speech was slurred immediately after the fight. So we kind of knew after the Galata fight that the Lewis fight was definitely off the tables. That just couldn't happen anymore. But I'm hoping Fury, because Fury says so many different things, as you guys know. One day he's talking about he's got 5 fights and he's got a lot of fight left in him and he's gonna fight Joshua. He plans on doing it. Then you hear him on another interview. Sounds like he has no intentions of fighting Anthony Joshua, like he has no interest in it. So I wish he would just say something and stick to it. Bon Scott, salute. Salute to you, Mr. Scott. Salute to Scotland, the UK, New Zealand, Jamaica, Brazil, Colombia, the DR, California, Southeast San Diego, Mission Valley, Chula Vista, South Bay, San Ysidro, showing some Cali love, even La Jolla, the rich part. But Fury has to fight Anthony Joshua. He's not going to be remembered as an all-time great with his current resume. Sure, he fought Klitschko. Sure, he beat Deontay Wilder really 3 times, in my opinion. But you have to fight AJ, especially now because AJ's like fighting better than he's ever fought. So you're gonna have to fight the guy that everybody is talking about is on the rise. You can't come up with any reason not to fight AJ. It's not gonna. People aren't going for it. And I'm seeing my dude. Shout out to BWTM Sports and Gaming. I think he's live. He went live. Bon Scott says closest I've been to Cali is GTA 5 or Grand Theft Auto 5. That's what's up. Man, I remember when that game came out, man. It was so popular. I got bored with it quick because I was like, man, you could just play this all day, just run around the streets hitting people. I'm like, wow. Sports prediction 101 says I got some winning over and under picks I'm giving out tonight in basketball and a boxing pick for this weekend at 12 p.m. before y'all place y'all bets. Oh, so go check out Sports Prediction 101. He's got some game for y'all over there. So go check him out. Go check him out. He knows a lot about boxing. Shout out to Bruce Gass, and I liked his live stream the other night with Tim Witherspoon. Yeah, that was a good one. But yeah, go subscribe to my dude Sports Prediction 101. We got to support the platforms that know the sport. Bon Scott said, did you know GTA was developed by Rockstar in Dundee, Scotland? Fun fact for y'all. No, I knew it was developed by Rockstar, but I didn't know they were located in Scotland. Oh, that's interesting. I did not know that. So Scotland is helping to contribute to the destruction of America. No, I'm just playing. But yeah, I did not know that. Bon Scott dropping facts for y'all. Wow, I did not know that. Yeah, that's one of them games that just go on and on like Fortnite. Like you could start at 8 a.m. and play all the way till the next day 8 a.m. You're like, man, wow, I did not know that. And they keep coming out with these Grand Theft Auto games, and they're getting more violent and more destructive. And it's like, wow, man. I remember when video games looked very different. I grew up in the Atari era. Had the Atari 2600 and the Atari 5200. Could nobody tell me nothing? Could nobody tell me nothing? That was the top game at that time. And remember in television, Activision, all that. I was good with the Atari, man. Vaughn Scott says, you were probably right. We did supply the Indians with whiskey. Uh, oh, wow. So y'all are setting it off over in Scotland. Y'all ain't playing around over there. You're like, we about to come after the whole planet. He said, we're gonna do a hostile takeover on the map, huh? Shout out to Bon Scott. Sports prediction says, I see your hat game behind you, bro. Hey, I appreciate that, man. Shout out to you, sports predictions. Yeah, man. I got more too. Um, I gotta find them. I got some Jamaican hats too. Emmanuel says, do you like soccer? Yeah, I don't fully understand soccer, but I just like the energy from the crowd. So I used to just watch it because the crowd was so into it. And I don't understand rugby either, but I can if it's on, I'm sure gonna watch it, man. I just really enjoy like when the crowd's into it, and them dudes in rugby, some big boys, man. I saw some rugby players in real life, man. Them dudes had thighs like tree trunks. Look like they could kick somebody into next week. Bon Scott says we call it football here. Yeah, I know. I don't understand why we call ours football when we barely kick it during the game. Seems like I can understand you guys calling it football. I never understood why we call it football. You know, sometimes they say out here when we were kids tackle football, but yeah, I like the energy of soccer though. When I lived in Southeast Dago across from Lincoln High School, shout out to Lincoln High School. Every Sunday, it would just be packed with Mexicans all over there playing soccer. Man, they took over that soccer field. I used to like the energy. Like I said, and it's something you definitely got to be in shape for because it's constant running. My wife used to play soccer, and that explains why her thighs feel like cement. But that's another story. Shout out to the wifey, y'all. Bon Scott said, if you want to see one of the greatest players ever, watch Jonah Lamu, a Tongan that played for New Zealand. He was a wrecking ball. Okay, I'm gonna have to remember that name, man. Put that name in one of my videos, so in case I forget it, I'll have it to know for rugby. Yeah, I want to see that. I used to watch, as I was saying on another live stream, Brian Mujadi, who played rugby. He is like one of the best YouTube channels ever. It's like watching a movie. He's got drones, theatric music. The dude's cooking meat that looks so tender. He's barbecuing. One of the best channels ever. I don't think he puts any more videos out, but if you just go through his playlist, you won't be disappointed. Man, his videos were so well done. Man, Brian Mujadi, his YouTube channel's called The Life of Brian. I just happened to see his comment, I think, on Chris Jones, and I thought that's an interesting name, so I clicked on his name, and I was like, man, I'm so glad I clicked on it. He's a big dude, man. He was lifting weights all the time. He was funny. Brian Mujadi, man. Hope he and his family are doing all right. They were having seemed like some difficulties up there a while back. I hope they're doing okay though. But back to Mr. Fury and Mr. AJ. Fury cannot continue to talk out of both sides of his mouth. 1 minute he's down to fight AJ. A couple minutes later he's cool with not fighting him, or he makes you wonder if he wants to fight him. It's like, man, you guys are all in the same circle. You can't avoid him, man. What's that about? Was there a big American footballer called the Fridge? Yeah, absolutely. With the 85 Bears, what was his name? William Perry. I think that was his name. Played for the Bears. Yeah, that dude was huge. He was like 300 plus pounds. Anytime they got to the goal line, they give it to the Fridge. You can even see him on that song, the Super Bowl Shuffle. The 85 Bears, Walter Payton, Jim McMahon. Best defense in NFL history, the 85 Bears. I'm surprised you know about that, Bon. Emmanuel Broderick says, I'm from the England and football is big over here, but I'm more of a boxing fan. Yeah, same here. Yeah, same here. I'm more of a boxing fan. I started off liking American football, even played it for some years, but boxing was my thing. Oh, shout out to Bruce Gass, man. I was talking about the show you did with Tim Witherspoon the other night. I enjoyed that. Salute to you, man. Go subscribe to Bruce Gass. He says the Fridge was in the Battle Royale at WrestleMania too. Was he? I never knew that. Yeah, he had the physique for a wrestler, that's for sure. I remember Hulk Hogan messed up his back trying to pick up Andre the Giant. I'm pretty sure nobody wanted to pick up the Fridge either. That's why it's called the Fridge, of course, because the dude was huge. Yeah, that was his name, William Perry. William Perry. Man, them 85 Bears, man. That team was. I think they were almost like the Mike Tyson of the NFL back then. They just used to intimidate teams. Bon Scott says, I watch a lot of sports, brother. Love it all. Yeah, I like a lot of different sports. Some sports I rather play than watch. Like baseball is fun to play, not so much to watch. Golf, fun to play, not so much to watch. Stuff like that. Um, Even basketball, I love shooting threes. I could do that all day, but only time I really like watching the NBA is if it's the playoffs when I know somebody's going home if they lose the best of whatever. Bruce Gas says you can find it on YouTube and it's funny. I'm gonna have to check that out. I will have to check that out. Bon Scott says the Harlem Globetrotters back in the day used to watch them too sweet to sweet. I used to have that on what was it called? The little 45 tracks. I saw the Globetrotters play in person back at the San Diego Sports Arena. Yeah, man, I used to enjoy the Harlem Globetrotters. They were even on two episodes of the White Shadow, one of my favorite shows. Adari says Tim Witherspoon versus Anthony Joshua. Who wins? It's funny. They look a lot alike in the face. Tim Witherspoon and Joshua. If you go back and watch Tim Witherspoon's fights, I think I don't know. That would probably be a battle of the jabs right there. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I like both guys too. That's a tough one, man. You be coming up with some dream matchups for real. Bon Scott says only basketball team to be featured in Scooby Doo. I forgot about that. Yeah, I think they were on. You remember Gilligan's Island? I think they were on there too. Man, them '80s shows were something special, man. See, I come on here with the topic, and then we end up veering off. But hey, I like we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. It's you guys' platform just as much as mine. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for y'all, I'd be talking to myself right now. And when you talk to yourself, people say you're kind of crazy. Usyk versus Prime Vladimir Klitschko. That's interesting because Usyk had called out the Klitschkos, and I think he had sparred with them and made him look bad, and he got sent home. I'm gonna take Usyk. I'm gonna take Usyk just because of his weird style. I think that would have presented Klitschko with a bit of a problem. Of course, Klitschko the harder puncher, but I think Usyk would have had a harder time with Vitali. Vitali might have beaten him, but I don't think Vladimir would have so much. Bon Scott says, "Sorry, bro, I go off on a tangent sometimes." No, I like these other topics, man. I do too. I'll think of something or a certain word, or I'll bring back a memory, and I get started on that. So, hey, man, just come away, whatever you guys want to talk about. But yeah, Usyk versus Prime Klitschko. That would have been a very good matchup. I think Kurt was talking about that today from Counterpunch Boxing News. I think he was talking about that on his live stream today. Shout out to Kurt. Like I said earlier, get well soon, man. I know you was feeling under the weather. Kurt be working so hard, man. Still going live, not feeling well. Kurt's a rider, man. Shout out to Kurt, bringing us boxing news fresh off the presses. Under the weather or feeling great, Kurt's bringing us the news, and that's the sign of a true professional. Show up and do what you got to do, regardless, man. Not a lot of people can do that. Adore says, "Oh, he's talking to Bruce Gas." Okay, I got you. Shout out, I don't know, I forgot. Shout out my dude Dusty Vision TV. Go subscribe to him. He posted the last of our interview. We were talking about NWA and hip hop and its mark on the industry, and stuff like was NWA put where they were put to help destroy the community. Ice Cube gave an interesting interview on the Breakfast Club where he was saying people are kind of telling these rappers what to say. So, yeah. Invisible Productions. Oak Productions, shout out to you. He says, we have a good fight in here in the UK on Easter Sunday, Wardley versus Clark. Oh, yeah. Thank you for reminding me. Shout out to, I wanted to talk about that, Wardley versus Clark. Yeah, I started watching where they sit down and face to face, and I didn't finish it. I gotta go back and watch that. But I got Wardley in that. What do you guys got? I think Wardley is very sharp and fast. He made Adelaide look like he didn't even belong in the ring. So I just think Wardley's the more aggressive, faster fighter from what I've seen. I haven't seen too much of Clark, but I haven't seen too much of Wardley either, but what I have seen, I liked. Watch Corey Sanders versus Vlad. Yeah, I saw that fight. Vlad seemed to suffer from the same self-doubt that AJ has. Vitali would probably end Usyk very quick. Yeah, he might have. I remember that fight. I think I recorded it back in the VHS days. Yeah, Corey Sanders was a tough guy, man. Very tough. Could take a punch and could dish it out. Yeah, man. I think that fight happened a little after Lennox Lewis had retired in the early 2000s, from what I remember. But yeah, let's talk about some Wardley versus Clark. From what I saw, the way Wardley just beat up Adelaide, if you remember, he had all that talk for Wardley, and he just got demolished. Invisible Oak Production says, yeah, Wardley has no amateur background. Oh, let me read that. It says Wardley has no amateur background like Clark, so should be interesting. Yeah, from what I understand, Clark has the bigger amateur background than Wardley. That's weird too, because when I've seen them fight, Wardley looks more technically sound to me than Clark. But like I said, I haven't seen a whole lot of either of them, so I could be calling it wrong. But they almost look like brothers, especially if Clark shaved the beard off. I just think Wardley might be a little too fast and strong for him. Emmanuel Broderick says Fabio Wardley is exciting to watch. Yeah, he really impressed me with the way he just went in there and handled Adelaide. The way Adelaide came in there talking and tried to start a fight before the fight. And they say Wardley is a white collar boxer. What does that mean? Yeah, I don't know what they mean by that. Yeah, I don't know what they mean by that. I just like what I saw from him because he didn't let Adelaide get in his head. He wasn't intimidated. He just went in there like, okay, you did all the talking outside the ring and before the fight. Now I'm gonna show you who's in charge once we're in the ring. He just went in there and just totally dismantled. He embarrassed him. I don't even know if Adelaide would want a rematch. Just like I don't hear Ngannou talking about he wants a rematch with AJ. He'll mention Fury, but I don't think he wants no problems with AJ. I think and I'm seeing switching topics now, but I'm seeing more and more platforms coming up trying to talk about the fight may have been fixed, and then they contradict themselves. White collar is for charity and just 8 weeks training. Oh, is that what they're saying? I wonder why they're saying that about Wardley. Vaughn Scott says, he says, I think it's something like he is from an upper class family or something, but the man can fight. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, people seem to think you always have to come from a crazy background to be a good fighter. Not always, but I will say that some of the best fighters do come from crazy backgrounds because they're fighting to survive. They're fighting to put food on the table. So a lot of the best fighters were from tough backgrounds. Except, I don't think Tyson Fury was really had a hard childhood, but he's sure a great fighter. Office workers who want to box. Yeah, they have that white collar boxing with like people that have desk jobs that box. But I don't know why they're saying that about Wardley necessarily. Unless they're saying he has an office job. If he does, I don't know about that. Hold on, y'all. Take a break. Smoothie time, y'all. What flavor is this again? Guava?
What's the island?
What is it?
I don't know the island.
It's pretty good. Jared Anderson versus. Ooh, that's a good fight. Jared Anderson versus. I'm gonna take Wardley only because Jared's mind isn't there. Like this dude is doing all kind of. He's doing too much outside the ring. So I'm gonna go with Wardley. Wardley seems like a professional and he's focused. That is a good matchup though. Jared's a good fighter. He just has to get his head right. Emmanuel says it would be interesting to see how the heavyweight landscape will be when Joshua Fury and Usyk retire. Yeah, it will be. I have a feeling it'll dip in excitement, kind of like for a while when Lennox Lewis retired. It's kind of a dip, It's like after the Ali era. It's like, So, because the next crop of heavyweights that I'm seeing, they're pretty good. They just don't have any presence about them really. Like when you look at Anthony Joshua, Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, George Foreman, they all had like a presence. They looked intimidating. A lot of these new guys don't have the look now. Like I said, they can fight, but they don't really have the look. Audrey Harrison had amateur background and was terrible when he turned pro at 32. Yeah, he was bad. I remember when Deontay Wilder knocked him out, and Deontay was swinging like a giraffe on skates and like just helicopter punches. Yeah, Audley Harrison was a huge disappointment. I remember him very well. I don't know. I don't know what happened to him. He just didn't have it as a pro. I don't know if he lost interest in the sport or just what. They should go pro. at a cut off point at 21 or something. Yeah, I don't. I'm gonna have to try to find some interviews of Oddly and hear. I want to hear him say like what exactly happened with his pro career because he just was a huge Speaking of huge disappointments, do y'all remember a heavyweight in the '90s by the name of Courage Shabalala from Africa? He was supposed to have had like it was a crazy record. Like I'm gonna just make something up, but it was something crazy, like 100 wins all in the first round, whatever. And Larry Merchant couldn't wait for this guy to come over to the states, and he finally came over here and lost, got knocked out by like a journeyman or a dude coming up. So all them knockouts he had on his record and the big hype was over like that. Courage Shabalala, go look it up. And his last name starts with a T, I believe, even though it's Shabalala. That dude was a huge, huge disappointment. If he's watching, sorry, man, but you're a disappointment. What do you want from me? Emmanuel Broderick says, "Who do you think is the hardest puncher in boxing?" And I don't think it's Wilder because he hasn't knocked anyone elite out. I couldn't agree more. I would say it is Anthony, AJ, Joshua. I would say Joshua was the hardest puncher in the heavyweight division right now. I used to get in more debates with people that acted like Wilder was the hardest puncher, not just now but ever. I'm like, you can't be the hardest puncher with a resume like that. I mean, how hard is it to knock out the dudes he was knocking out? I mean, Stavern with the distance with him the first time. I don't know what happened in the rematch, but I would say AJ. And Fury can punch when he sits down on his punches, but well, if if Francis Ngannou can learn some things, and if that knockout hasn't affected his mind, he maybe can be one of the hardest punchers. But I don't know where his head's at right now. He's sounding mighty different right now. And like I said, there's more and more channels talking about was it a conspiracy? I saw one guy saying, I'm not trying to insinuate anything, and then the rest of the video he's insinuating something. He's playing clips of Eddie Hearn. Now, did Eddie Hearn, is he saying this is a fix? And then he turns around. I don't think Eddie Hearn knew about it. I think it was some higher ups. It's like, dude, there was no fix. Nobody spiked Ngannou's water. Being a professional fighter, in fact, you should bring your own water, your own snacks. Don't take anything from anybody, so you know everything you're putting in your body. Because I'm not going to take no drink from nobody. Because for one, I don't know you probably, and I don't know what you did with my water. Little bullet in the building says the hardest left hand has to be Dillian White. Could be. Emmanuel says, "Oh, I was meant to say who's the hardest puncher in boxing history." Oh boy, George Foreman, Lennox Lewis, Ernie Shavers, Mike Tyson. One of those. Who you got, Emmanuel? Invisible Oak Production says would like to see Wilder come back and beat Zhang, then take AJ while we wait for the undisputed to play out. I almost hope Wilder does beat Zhang so we can get that AJ fight because that's the fight we've been wanting for so long. If Wilder's head is still in it. Emax Boss, shout out to you. He said spitting facts. Shout out to you, Emax Boss in the building. But yeah, it would be nice if Wilder could get past Zhang. I just don't think he will. I think Deontay's mind is elsewhere. And it's like Kurt was saying from Counterpunch Boxing News, that how bad was that beating or those beatings that Fury put on Wilder that he went away to Africa and started smoking? That's not something he was doing before, to my knowledge. Now he's smoking, he's making rap songs or videos, and dude, you have to box, bro. Especially at this stage of your career, you're about to hang it up. Just finish the race, then you can make whack songs. And he needs to stop smoking though. Like that hallucinogenic stuff is no joke, man. He's playing around with some stuff that he has no idea about. So he needs to leave that alone. Box, focus. I'm pretty sure even Mike Tyson stopped all the smoking and stuff while he's getting ready for fake Paul. I mean Jake Paul. There's still people talking about Jake Paul's gonna beat Mike Tyson down. Really, it's like shout out to as a new boxing platform called Your Boy in the Bunker, and he's left a great comment. I pinned it. He said Jake Paul couldn't take couldn't take Nate Diaz out. He's never taken punches from a world class fighter. So come on, you guys. Yeah, that ayahuasca messes people up. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Who have you got between Itioma and Johnny Fisher? They reckon Itioma is the future of the heavyweight division. I've only seen him fight a couple times. So, and I'm not even sure I've seen Johnny Fisher at all. So I'm gonna have to check on that. I think it's between Tyson and Foreman. Vlad Klitschko was a devastating puncher too. Yeah, the Klitschko's could punch. We tend to forget about them because their fights seem so one sided. But well, Tyson's were one sided too. But I think the Klitschko's people thought they were boring because Vladimir would do that kind of that hit and hold style, and people would not focus on the knockout so much. But yeah, you can't leave out the Klitschko's. There's been a lot of guys that could really punch in the heavyweight division. Even Tommy Morrison could. His left hook was one of the best ever. Joe Frazier could punch. There's been a lot of dudes. Yeah, of course, the Ernie Shavers. That dude, man, he put people to sleep. Bon Scott says Manny Stewart saved Vlad's career. He was going nowhere without his influence. Man, Manny Stewart, I think, helped Lennox Lewis. I don't think Lewis would have been as great as he was had he not hooked up with Emmanuel. Emmanuel was one of a kind. There was Manny Stewart just knew boxing well. Special K says, I highly recommend people check out Julian the Hawk Jackson, not a heavyweight, but he is probably pound for pound the hardest punching boxer I've seen. Check him out on you. I remember Julian Jackson. Yeah, that dude was no joke. Fellow Christian, shout out to him. Julian Jackson could punch, man. He used to be on the Don King cards when they'd have Don King used to put together some big cards, man. When you paid all that money to watch fights, you would definitely get your money's worth. Invisible Oaks Production says they said I'm not even sure how to say it. Oma could take Tyson youngest heavyweight record. Yeah, he might be able to do that. He might be able to do that. I want to see how well he takes a punch though. Andy Ruiz can punch. Yeah, Andy Ruiz. Thing I like about Andy Ruiz is he throws combos, man. Not a lot of heavyweights do that. I think that's what messed up AJ. I don't think he was used to a dude throwing combos, at least not a shorter heavyweight. AJ does better against dudes his height or better, but coming from a shorter guy is like at weird angles. Bon Scott says Itioma is on track to become the youngest heavyweight world champion. He's only 19. Wow. Yeah, like they say, records are made to be broken. So we'll see if he can take Mike Tyson's title as the youngest heavyweight champion ever. Mike Tyson might get some notices after he knocks out Jake Paul at 58. Then people are going to say, hey, Jake Paul was a YouTuber, though. Like, yeah, that's not what you guys were saying before the fight. Don't move the goalpost now. Don't pull the switch up. Why are you over there? Why aren't you over there? No, just want to change the scenery. Julian Jackson was a very hard puncher. I saw him knock out someone with the right hand, and the guy was motionless. Oh yeah, that's one reason this one channel was saying the fight was fixed. He's like, have you ever seen Joshua knock somebody out where they don't move? No, but you just saw it. I mean, there's a first for everything. Grego's in the building said he's not beating that record only because the heavyweight titles are moving very slow right now. And I'm waiting for the comment to move up. and Itama is way down the list of contenders to get a shot. Shout out to Gregos. Yeah, you might be right, man. You might be right. Yeah, it'll be hard for him to get a title shot before he's over 21. That's a great comment. Bon Scott says, sorry for going on, but this guy is fighting like a super middleweight with extreme power. Wow. Yeah, I'm going to have to check him out. There's a fighter by the name of Jordan Gill that watched AJ sparring for Ngannou, and when asked would he did he know that Joshua was going to handle Ngannou like that, he replied yes, like quickly. And he said AJ would give Fury all types of problems. He would be causing him to think in the ring, and he said he thinks AJ's power would just kind of take over. So I was like, he didn't even hesitate in saying it. Like he just knew. This AJ's different, y'all. I'm telling you, the look in his eyes, like he's different. Invisible Oak Production says Tyson was 20, I believe. He better get a move on. Yeah, 21. Yep. ITM ain't beating Mike's record because he ain't good enough. Special case said. Bon Scott says, I disagree. Fury, Usyk, and Joshua will be retired. There's nobody there, in my opinion, that can stop him right now. And he has sparred all the top guys already. He knows what he is capable of. Interesting. Bon Scott said Tyson was 21, born in 19, let's say 65. Yeah, when I've seen of this guy, like he was impressive, but he didn't have that presence of Mike Tyson. Not that that really matters, but it helps to sell tickets. He doesn't have like a ferocious look about him. Mike Tyson just looked like a killer, man. When you looked at Mike, you're like, man, this dude can handle some business. This is 1966. Mike was born 20 and 4 months. Oh, I see. I got you. He said it'll be 20 and 4 months. Little Bullet says Mike Tyson's record won't be beaten anytime soon. Let me see. It says Mike Tyson's record won't be beaten anytime soon. There is way too much fight ducking these days. Yeah. A lot of ducking going on. A lot of rematches that are holding up things. Always a rematch. Hey, if you beat me, let me get that get back. Just kind of get some fights and then fight a rematch way down the road. Like Joshua, I'm sure Joshua was going to fight Parker again, but see, it didn't happen immediately. Keeps things moving. Joshua might even fight Ruiz for a third time, but you know. Lil Bullet says Mike Tyson's record won't be beaten anytime soon as well. I just read that. Bon Scott says under Frank Warren, Itioma will get that chance guaranteed. Yeah, he might. I wonder if he's going to be in the, what is that, Queensberry versus Matchroom. Emax Boss says, I still believe Tyson's still way too much for Jake Paul. Yeah, man. This internet generation that sees these highlights of Jake Paul knocking out people and they're like, whoa, he's going to beat Mike Tyson. Like, no, he's not. Absolutely not. Jake Paul ain't felt the power of a Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson can hurt you without even trying. Ask Ed Lover about that from UMTV Raps. Bon Scott says, look what he did for Dubois. Warren is a G. Frank Warren, yeah, man, that dude is something else. ITOM is that big kid in high school who matured faster than everyone else, but then you meet them a few years later and everyone is caught up, seen it a million times. Yeah, that happens. Someone has a growth spurt, and then you see him next year, you're like, oh, well, I'm bigger than you now. That happened with me and my cousin. He was always like the Incredible Hulk as a kid. Everybody's like, man, and then I got to be bigger than him. Emmanuel Broderick says if it wasn't for Saudis, most of these boxers wouldn't even be fighting. No, they wouldn't. Prince Turkey is putting these fights together. I hope he's okay. He's got some sort of health issue. So it's almost like he's trying to put fights together just in case something happens, man. I don't know what his health issue is, but he's talked about it. I just I hope he's all right. And not just because we're getting the fights we like, is I just don't want to see him because he's pretty young. He's pretty young, so I hope it's nothing crazy with his health. You know, for his amount of money, he can probably find some herbs or something. No matter how expensive, that'll help him out. Oh, I missed that comment. 1 second. Let me see. These comments disappear so fast. He is on the undercard, J. Roos. I think they will feed fathers and where it keeps disappearing. Feed a father to him. That's why I asked. Oh, yeah, I don't know, man. I hope so, man. I hope to see him on the undercard. Are you talking about the Matchroom Queensberry or the yeah, but Mr. Turkey is putting on some fights that we didn't think we'd see. And the thing that I like about what he's doing is he's putting the fights together quickly. You know, we don't have to wait 3 years to get the fight. So we'll see what happens in the other divisions. But Mr. Turkey's like me; he's more interested in the heavyweight divisions than these other weight classes. Turkey and Fury look far too buddy buddy for my liking. I hope Usyk gets a fair fight, but the big money wants a Fury win because it allows. Yeah, there's a whole YouTube channel talking about the Prince Turkey look way too calm at the Ngannou fight, but the big money wants a Fury win because it allows a Joshua versus Fury mega fight. Yeah, I know what you mean. That's what one of these platforms that just came out was talking about. It was like, look at Prince Turkey when Joshua knocked out Ngannou. He looks way too calm. Did he know it was going to happen? It's like, man, if Ngannou was drugged before the fight, how come he looked so energetic before he got knocked out? He's like moving around and bouncing. Then the minute he got punched, all of a sudden, yeah, you felt drugged because you're woozy. That's yeah, he never felt that before. Welcome to boxing. Adore says Queensberry versus Matchroom should join forces, team up, and merge, work together partnership. Yeah, I think they are, man. I think that's what Mr. Turkey is attempting to do. Kind of like the Crips and the Bloods coming together, huh? Trying to call a truce between boxing promoters. Bon Scott says those other kids have got a lot to catch up on. He says those other kids have got a lot to catch up on. The kid is 19, 6'6", and 135 pounds. Wow. Yeah, that's a crazy height and weight. That's crazy. I mean, he can't afford to skip a meal. I guess he'll be like 120 if he misses breakfast. Who was that the Fraser Clark fought last and the dude kept what's his name? I did a video about him, but the dude kept hitting him low. I was like, what is this? It was a while ago too. Little Bullet says in caps, no way on earth was Joshua versus Ngannou rigged. It's food it's food for fools rumor. Yeah, there's no way that was rigged. Yeah, Dave Allen. Yeah, that's who. We kept hitting Fraser Clark low. I was like, what is that? Thanks, Emmanuel. I appreciate that. But yeah, these new channels popping up out of nowhere talking about was the fight rigged. They even went back and showed Ngannou with the press conference. Why is he smiling here? Did he know something? Why did he say I could beat these guys if they were in MMA? Like you already knew you were going to lose the boxing match. It's like, man, if Ngannou was drugged, he would have looked sleepy before the fight. He'd have looked crazy. So I want to hear it about was he drugged or they tricked him into coming to the arena late. You should know when to come to the arena. You've been a main event before. You fought Fury. Why didn't you come to the arena the same time that you did when you fought Fury? Emax says Fury calls Usyk a cheater. I stand with him. Usyk cheated against AJ and Triple D. Yeah, it was suspect against Triple D, but where did he cheat against AJ? Bond Scott says, ha ha ha, I meant to say 235 pounds. Oh, I thought, yeah, I get you, man. I was thinking of that dude that's about to fight Tim Zoo when you said that. Adore says Moses Itioma versus Jared Anderson would be a very good future fight. Yeah, like I said, if Anderson can get his head right, he seems to be trying to debate, does he want to be a gangster or does he want to be a boxer? I would think the boxer would be the brighter future, personally. But, you grow up in this society now, they glamorize gangsterism and make that look appealing. Till you end up in jail with 3 hots in a cot, fighting for your life, saying bye to your wife, turning your spoon into a knife. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Paul Scott said, man would get broken in half at 135. Yeah, 135, man. 135. Jalolov versus Frank Sanchez. Ooh, that would be a good fight. Frank Sanchez against any of these top guys would be a good match. Frank is very tough. I think Frank is older than what he says too. These Cubans like Luis Ortiz, these dudes be looking like they ever been of late 50s, talking about they 40 or something. And then Frank Sanchez, no, he says he's in his 20s. Like, wow, okay. I guess life in Cuba was rough. Deontay Wilder versus Fabio Wardley. Ooh. Well, the Wilder we just saw against Joseph Parker, that Wilder's not beating nobody. If he can go back to the Wilder he was, maybe Wilder. But if he fights hesitant like Malik Scott's got him like running around trying to box, if he fights under this Malik Scott regime, then Wardley all day. Because Wardley seems to throw combos, and I don't think Deontay fights good going back, and he don't like combos either, unless it's a combo at maybe a restaurant or something like that. Appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm loving the comments. Y'all know your stuff. Have you heard about Tio Stevenson? Wait, what? That comment went by too fast. Have you heard about Stevenson? The Cuban boxer offered millions to turn pro and fight Ali. He said he had enough adulation from his fans and didn't need to fight pro. I know what you're talking about, but I hadn't heard that story. Wow. Matchroom and Queensberry are freezing Jovalov out. They know he spoils their party. Time for Turkey to make a captain's call and introduce Jalalala to the world. Yeah, well, absolutely. Yeah, Prince Turkey will step in. But yeah, I didn't know that about Stevenson and Ali. That's respect right there. Emax says, I think Jared Anderson will be a good matchup against Big Baby Miller or Dillian White. Yeah, I think he beats them all. I think he can definitely beat Dillian Miller. I don't know. It's just Jared Anderson's head is just in the space right now. That's the only thing. I just don't know where his head is. But if his head's right, absolutely. Fury had to slim right down for this Usyk fight. That's why he faked the cut. Good point. He might have staged that cut with some CGI because he wanted to get in better shape for Usyk. Because that footage was kind of dodgy, isn't it? Yeah, dodgy, isn't it? Jalalalalalav will get his time. This is the Fury Usyk Joshua era. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, he'll get his time. The other day when I was talking about there's no real great heavyweights coming from the States, I forgot my dude, Richard Torres. I like him even though he got stopped by Jalalov. I'm butchering his name. Even though he got knocked out by him in the Olympics, I still think there's a lot of guys that Richard Torres could beat. Like, it would be good to see him fight like a Andy Ruiz type in the future because they're both around the same height. They both throw fast, hard combos, so that would be a great fight. And if you don't know who Richard Torres Jr. is, go check him out. Heavyweight from California. Real fast, man. Real fast. He's around 6'2", 220. So he's not one of these mega big heavyweights, but he can be a problem to these big guys because he's so fast. Shout out to Tulare, California, where Richard Torres Jr. fights out of. Very familiar with that part of California. And I don't just like him because he's from that part of California. I like him because the man is talented. And his head's in the game. He's focused. You won't catch him doing no craziness outside the ring. I'm making that prediction live on air. You will not see Richard Torres doing anything crazy outside the ring. He's not that kind of a guy. Popcorn Boxing says hi. Hi to you, Mr. Popcorn Boxing. Cassius Chaney. Who is Cassius Chaney? I'm not familiar with that. Familiar with Cassius Clay. Emax Boss says Big J is right over here in Ghana. Bye bye everyone. What's in Ghana, man? Ghana. So that's where you're from, man. You're from Ghana. Shout out to Ghana. My parents stayed in Ghana before I was born. The Ghanaians, man. Smoothie break. Adoris says Cassius Chaney is from Connecticut. Okay, I don't know him. I'm gonna have to check him out. I don't know him. Good boxing name though, Cassius. Wonder who he was named after. Special K says it's only the Fury, Usyk, and Joshua era because boxing isn't progressing new blood fast enough. Very good point. Very good point. Fights just have to start happening, and we see 2023 was one of the best years we've seen recently for boxing. I mean, we had so many fights last year. We got to keep it going. We can't. Ain't no looking back. Ain't no turning back now. We just gotta keep the big fights coming. I mean, when you make the big fights, the money will be there because people are going to pay to see it. I never understood why people didn't want to make a big fight happen because everybody's going to come away well paid because you're giving the people what they want to see. If you keep putting fights together that nobody's asking for, who's going to pay some crazy pay-per-view price or even pay for some stream that they know they're going to cancel right after the fight? So make the fights happen and they will come. If you build it, they will come. It's not rocket science, you promoters. It's not rocket science. And how much money do you need anyway? You're already close to billionaires. I mean, stop being greedy. Greed, man. My smoothie king has now been devoured. Adorace's Cassius Chaney versus Martin Bacoli is next. Oh, that's where I heard that name. He's fighting Mighty Mouth Martin Bacoli. We'll see if Martin can back up that talk he's been dropping lately. Bon Scott says Warren was going in on Froch today. Froch said the Saudis are ruining boxing. Frank said that being a former boxer, Froch should be glad boxers are getting the chance of big money. I agree with Frank. So do I agree with Frank. Froch is a weird guy, man. I've watched him and he seems to be a bit of a hater. Like he used to come at Joshua kind of like Wallace Matthews used to go at Lennox Lewis. Froch is, how's it bad for boxing? If it's bad for boxing, why is everybody hyped up? Man, just shut up, Froch, man. Just shut up. I ain't subscribe to his platform. He be talking some way off stuff. Froch needs to shut his trap. Like everything coming out his mouth seems to be nonsense. He seems to have an agenda rather than an opinion. Emmanuel Broderick says, do you think Joshua versus Wilder will ever happen? It won't surprise me if it never happens at all. Yeah, it's kind of like I said, it's kind of like when we were waiting for Lennox Lewis versus Riddick Bowe and it never happened. I think it may happen if Wilder has to win his next fight. If he wins his next fight, it could happen. If he loses, I think he's done. Froch been a hater since Ward shook him. I was watching Andre Ward's documentary the other day called SOG, and yeah, Ward put hands on Froch. Little Bullet in the building said I had high hopes for Makhmudov until he got stopped. I reckon I fell for that old highlight reel trap. I thought he was a lot tougher than he was too. The minute he got pressured, he just folded up like a lawn chair. I was like, man, really? He got that one body shot to the sternum, and he was like, not tonight. No, no, no. Daniel Dubois versus F.A. at Jagba. I got Daniel Dubois on that one. F.A. just doesn't impress me. He's too robotic. He's a basic 1-2 fighter, and Dubois has hooks and uppercuts, and he's just a strong kid. I got Dubois big in there. I think Dubois knocks him out in about 5. F.A. Jagba, I thought he was gonna be better than what he ended up as. He doesn't impress me anymore. Bo Tyson was another I wished happened. Yeah, man, the Battle of Brownsville. I think they both went to the same school at one point too in Brownsville, Brooklyn. Um, yeah, Bo would have been tough for Tyson. A prime Bo might have beaten Mike Tyson. I don't know. Prime Tyson Bo, that's a tough one. Who you got now? One I'm still up in the air. Oh, you can make noises. Okay. Emmanuel says, I personally think Joshua versus Wilder will never happen. If Wilder loses his fight against Zhang, yeah, it's not happening. It's definitely not happening. If Wilder wins, I'm hoping, but I like you said, I wouldn't surprise me if it doesn't. If Atoma becomes the youngest heavyweight champion, then I hope you will all say I called it. If not, I will come on and eat crow, take my medicine. Yeah, I feel you on that, man. Got to make your predictions bold. That's what I do. Turkey out milkshake will make it happen. He said turkey out milkshake. Tony's reviews. Shout out to Tony's. Go subscribe to Tony's reviews, y'all. I've been on his platform chopping it up. Great channel, man. Knows his stuff. He says a prime Mike loses to no one and old Mike loses to Jake Paul. Nah, man, I gotta disagree with you big on that Jake Paul thing, man. Mike's gonna clobber Jake Paul, and Jake Paul's probably gonna be like, you know what? It was fun while it lasted. I don't know what I was thinking, but a 58-year-old lion is still a lion. Frank Sanchez versus Daniel Dubois. Ooh, that's a tough man. You be coming up with some. Ooh, give me a minute on that one. Stallion Coy in the building says, "What's up, brother? It's up to you, man. Hope you're having a great night." Lil Bullet says, "Fury versus Joshua will never happen either." Man, if that don't happen, I don't want to hear Fury run his mouth no more if that don't happen. Because Fury be like I said, he contradicts himself so much. You don't know. Like I think he does that deliberately to play mind games with the public, so you can't really get a read on him. Fury be all over the place. Stallion says if Tyson loses, he walks away. Wow. Prime Mike knew from a young age that if he ever faced Lennox, he would lose. He had the utmost respect for Lewis, although all the smack was to sell the fight. I got that feeling too. I think Mike kind of knew what was up. I think the heavyweight division had kind of passed him by when he came back out of jail. It's like dudes were bigger and stronger. And Mike, he seemed hungry when he had that Peter McNeely fight, but after that, it was like, Tony's review says YouTube Mike. He says YouTube Mike on a treadmill. Mike is about to die in the ring. Oh, wow. He said, I gotta see that. He said Mike on a treadmill, so Mike was struggling, huh? Stallion says absolutely. That's his game plan to make him talked about, keep him relevant, even if he's not fighting. Yeah. Special cases, Bon Scott. If Itioma beats Tyson's record, then Frank has done his job and manipulated the kid into the position. All the politics in boxing, you never can tell. Little Bullet says, we don't know if Tyson has been paid to take an easy on fake Paul. I would hope not, but you never know. Well, from what I understand, Tyson ain't hurting for money, not even slightly. And he turned down money. He turned down $20 million to fight Holyfield, which was almost a guaranteed victory in the rematch. So it's not about money for Mike. So Mike knows this ain't gonna look good. So Mike ain't taking no dive. Special cases, I wouldn't take that away from the kid. King did the same for Mike. At a races, Lennox Lewis versus Holmes. Oh, I got Lewis all day. People talk about Larry Holmes' jab, but Tim Witherspoon really beat Larry Holmes, and he said his jab wasn't all that. You know, Larry had a great jab, but nah, Lennox hit way too hard, way too big for Larry. Larry wouldn't have known what to do. Larry would have fallen just like he did when Mike fought him. And I know they'll say he's past his prime, but a prime Larry Holmes gets demolished by Lennox Lewis. Stallion says, nope, not watching that fight. Something sounds off. If Tyson had to hold his punches against Jones, what's going to happen in this? If Mike holds his punches, man, if I tune in and I see Mike have a knockout shot and he kind of pulls back, I'm turning the channel or turning off the live stream, whatever it is. Netflix, I'll be canceling my subscription mid punch. No funny business. I don't want to see no WWE tactics. I want to see a real boxing match. No shady refs, no shady referees. Nothing but real boxing between a 27-year-old Jake Paul and a 58-year-old Mike Tyson. Y'all gonna see what it is between the internet and people that were raised in the 80s and 90s. You're gonna see what it is. It's gonna be nothing nice. Lennox Lewis versus Usyk. I got Lewis big. Too strong. Usyk has a big ring IQ, but so did Lewis. Just too big and strong for Usyk. Usyk might have his moments till that overhand right comes in. Bon Scott says, I like that Polish kid, Galata. If he wasn't so unstable, he could have been great. Galata was real tough. He just had mental blocks. I agree. Galata was very good. Adder says, Muhammad Ali versus Ike Abeabuchi. Ooh, wow. I'm gonna have to go with Ali just based off talent, but man, definitely by decision, not knockout. But I wouldn't be mad if you said Ike. It's a shame Ike just didn't get to finish his career, man, because he looked like he was headed for the Hall of Fame and then some. Tony's review says Mike is about to look like a Fight Night character getting knocked out. I love Mike, but he can't even walk. I think he had just had some surgery back when he was having some leg issues. Not sure though. Stallion says he's not cut from the same cloth as Tyson. My defense is impregnable. I want his heart. I want to his Jake Paul's children. And when Mike had that rant after the Lou Savarese fight, my style is impregnable. Back when Mike was starting the baby dreads. Remember how Mike swung around the referee to hit Lou Savarese? Me and Lou Savarese follow each other on Instagram, by the way. Shout out to Lou Savarese, tough guy. He fought Tim Witherspoon later on. He actually beat Tim. Bon Scott says, come on, guys. Usyk ain't Superman. He would have been found out quick in the 80s. Usyk can be beaten. You just have to get close and you have to work his body, which people don't seem to do for some reason. Yeah, I know you meant eat. Yeah, I got you, Stallion. I got you. Stallion says that's what was on a Tupac track. If he comes up with that all alone, quite impressive quote. Tupac Shakur. My pick is the greatest rapper of all time. Troubled young man, but nonetheless, when you heard his song, you felt him. You don't feel a lot of people when they rap, but you felt Tupac. Little Bullet says, over the last couple years, I've already stolen half the movies on Netflix. With the movies I already had, my movie collection is over 4,000. Oh, man, I thought I had a collection. Man, you got me beat big time. Special cases, Galata was a beast when he had his head in the game. Galata was tough, man. That dude could punch. I picked Lewis to beat him, but I didn't think Lewis would knock him out in the first round. I mean, that was crazy. I never saw Galata handled like that before or after. Lewis had a way of intimidating people with his presence, though. He didn't even have to say much. Just looking over, seeing a big, tall guy. I think that scared a lot of people like Ivan Drago, just that silent presence. That's what I liked about Lewis. Like, he didn't have to do a lot of, you know. Stallion says, so when the rules official for this Tyson versus Paul fight? I guess that determines if we watch it or not. Yeah, I'm gonna have to see the rules before I put my money down. I don't want to. If it's already been said by Mike's trainer Rafael that there's no headgear, so at least there's no headgear. If they fight with 10-ounce gloves, there's no way Jake is surviving. There's no way. It's nearly impossible. I mean, Joe Biden would have just as good a shot. You know, there's. I mean, Roy Jones versus Evander Holyfield. Ooh, I got Holyfield. I don't know though. Roy Jones couldn't really take a punt. Yeah, I got Holyfield. Tony's review says Tupac was the greatest NY rapper. However, I think you mean West Coast rapper. Trying to read the rest of the comment. It says Tupac was the greatest NY rapper. However, he was manufactured. Dude was a ballerina in his private school. Yeah, but see, the thing is, people think how you start out is how you end up. So you can start off doing all kind of crazy stuff, but I just watched an interview with Spice One from the Bay, who's a definite gangster. They got in a fight with the Rolling 60s. Tupac got into it with some GDs in Chicago, so that ballerina stuff was long gone. Just because you start off one way don't mean that's how you got to stay. Them ballerina days was long gone. Bon Scott says non-KO clause for Jake. Only way Mike gets paid, he's already rich. He should knock him spark out. If they have a no knockout clause, they're not gonna sell no tickets. They know that they can't even sell this fight with that. Once we saw the boring fight between Jones and Mike, they know they can't do that no more. I tried to send you super chat before, some problem on my end. I'll do it on next line. Oh man, don't thanks. I appreciate it. Don't even sweat it, man. It's all good. I appreciate the thought though, man. David Hay versus Deontay Wilder. Didn't David Hay give Deontay Wilder a hard time sparring? I'm gonna pick David Hay on that one. Tony's review says Pac was born, raised, and lived in New York. Again, man, yeah, he lived in New York and he lived in Baltimore, but like I was born in Virginia, but I grew up in California, so I have no real relationship to or memory of Virginia because I wasn't there long enough. Stallion says Tony Bellew versus Wilder back in the day would have been a good one. Yeah, it would have. Even though I saw Tony kind of pretty much say that Wilder would have, I guess, been too much, but I don't know. Tony's always got a good mouth game on him now. Stallion says, but when Bellew, you seen him and he's too big. Yeah. The guy is deceased. Why disrespect his name? Get over it. What's his name was really going hard at Tupac. What's his name? I just did a video about that. Little Bullet says, have you seen Denzel Washington in The Hurricane, the movie about Reuben Hurricane Carter? Very good movie. Absolutely. We were talking about that a couple weeks ago on my live stream. I liked the movie except the little kid that kept talking like this. Reuben Hurricane Carter. I was like, that dude cannot act. He spoiled the movie for me. I'm like, everybody was doing good till they pulled this little kid in the movie that was sticking his lips out like he thought that's how an inner city kid talks. I'm like, man, why is this dude sticking his lips out? I wanted to see if he did that in every movie, if that was just what he did in that. He's just like this the whole movie. I'm gonna talk like this because I'm from the streets. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Reuben Hurricane Carter. It's like, man, somebody slapped this dude in his lips. Bon Scott has said exactly. They all talk big when the man is gone. Yeah, but what did Tupac say? They'll talk about me when I'm gone because they fear me in the physical form. People like Drez from Black Sheep, he got a lot to say about Tupac now, but he wasn't talking that when Tupac was here. Tupac was down with the Outlaws, Spice One. These are some real gangsters, man. Like Suge Knight. Trust me, they would not be hanging around a ballerina. Tupac was that dude. You saw Tupac was going through the casino looking for that crip. The night he got shot in Vegas, Emmanuel says Usyk versus Holyfield. Oh man, I've had this one before, and I think Usyk might have squeaked it out just because he's so awkward. Tony's review says all Tonys have a good talk game. However, we don't claim Bellu. He let Wilder scare him. Yeah, I kind of got the sense when they had that little altercation, like Tony was talking, but he didn't really he didn't really want to have a fight with Wilder. Even Tony Bellew said something like, I don't think he really wanted to fight Deontay in the ring or nothing like that, or the street. Machiavelli. Daniel Dubois versus Jared Anderson. I got Daniel Dubois. Till Jared Anderson could get his mind together, it's gonna be hard to pick him. Bon Scott says, "Come on, guys, we could have Hay, Usyk, and Holyfield would be a great series of fights." Absolutely, absolutely. Little Bullet said, "There's no heavyweight fighting today that would beat a prime Mike Tyson." Could be right on that. And Mike Tyson was a lot to handle. And he used his height to work for him instead of against him. He knew how to get the most out of that height and weight. Special cases, check out 18-year-old Hergovich going toe-to-toe with Wilder at a David Hay training camp. Hergovich cut Hay in the camp, resulting in Hay versus Fury getting canceled. Oh, is that what happened? I did not know that. So Hergovich is the one that cut David Hay? I did not know that. See, I got some brilliant subscribers that know their stuff. You guys be teaching me stuff I ain't even know. I'm gonna have to check that out. And Johnny Nelson held the title for 7 years. I like Johnny Nelson. I like Johnny Nelson, isn't it? Yeah. Mike was in many ways the new Marciano. Mike was the new Marciano, didn't have the height, but had the know-how. Yeah, he was a lot like Rocky Marciano, man. Rocky Marciano, that dude trained hard, and I don't think Rocky Marciano gets enough credit for being 50-0. Larry Merchant said, well, a lot of those fights were before the African American fighters came along. Hey, that might be so, but you fight whoever's before you. So you can't blame Rocky Marciano because he didn't have certain fighters to fight. He beat the guys that were put before him. So you got to give Rocky Marciano credit, man. He doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion. I think Rocky Balboa gets more credit than Rocky Marciano. Conspiracy about Marciano. Is there? Oh, Mafia. Did the Mafia take him out? I know it's pretty gruesome how he went out. I always wondered about that. I always wondered about that story. I think I looked into it briefly and couldn't find anything on it, but if you got anything on that, let me know because I always wondered about that myself. It seemed kind of suspicious how he went out. You can't trust anything in the media these days. Joe Frazier versus Ken Norton. I'm going to say Ken Norton. Slightly. Could go either way. No, I'm about fools with always say his record was because of Mafia. But I got you, but don't have nothing on his yeah, okay, I got you. I'd heard that too about his record being suspect because of the mob. I don't know. I know the mob was pretty influential in them days, but I would have to really look into it. Bon Scott says, Jay Roos, if you like old style boxing, have a look at the Scottish fighter Benny Lynch, the greatest fighter Scotland ever produced, our first world champion. I'll have to check him out. Benny Lynch. That's definitely a boxing name. Muhammad Ali versus Lewis. Ooh. No disrespect to Ali, but I'm going to say Lewis. Ali called Lennox Lewis the greatest, but Lennox Lewis said he would never fight a guy outside of his prime. Both guys would say the opposite. Lewis would say Ali would beat him, and Ali would say Lewis would beat him. But just going toe to toe, Lewis is so big and strong. I'm gonna have to say Lewis. Tim Witherspoon easily against Joe Frazier. I got Tim easy in that. Too big, great, too strong, and too great of a jab. Frazier used to go a little hook happy for me, and I think that overhand right, that Tim Witherspoon threw would be too much for Frazier. Quan Big Gun, salute to you. Thanks for tuning in. Says, what's up, Jay Roos? From what I see, Fury always has an excuse when it comes to AJ or Usyk. He is doing everything to avoid them. Yeah, he doesn't seem like he really wants those fights. It's like he's just doing it out of pressure. But he sees something in those guys that he knows will present him with a problem. YouTube boxing writer Bert Sugar on Marciano, great tribute video. I'll have to check that out. Appreciate that. Quan Big Gun says Ali versus Lennox is the ultimate fantasy fight. Yeah, man. Yeah, Ali was listed at 6'3" or 6'2". Big weight advantage for Lewis too, and Lewis is a lot harder puncher. Bon Scott says, bedtime in Scotland, brother, and that all the best and much peace and prosperity in your lives. I'm out. Shout out to you, Bon. Appreciate that. Yeah, I think you guys are way ahead. Shout out to Scotland. Special K, we could say the same about Ali. He was champ before the Eastern European fighters came along. No USSR fighters in his day. That's a good point. Y'all know your stuff. Little Bullet says, I have to say one of my all-time favorites is Nigel Benn. You just never knew what was going to happen. Nigel was a great fighter. Nigel was a great fighter, man. He was tough. Very tough. Stallion Coy says 50 years on tribute to Marciano. Oh, I'm going to have to check that out. Lennox Lewis versus Francis Ngannou. Lennox Lewis round one, and it would almost look like a replay of what AJ did. In fact, the right hand that Joshua hit Ngannou with to end his night was very Lewis-esque, as they say. It's like he put his whole 252 into Francis's dome piece, and you saw the results. The dude woke up talking about he was drugged, he was tricked. He's like, no, you got knocked out, champ. You got knocked out. You got slept in front of the world. Take it like a G. Get better. And I don't want to hear no more excuses, or we'll start calling you Deontay Jr. We don't want to hear no excuses, man. None. None. If you were drugged, you should have said that in a press conference. You should be like, you should have looked AJ right in his face and be like, man, you didn't beat me. I was drugged. No, you got drugged. Big difference. Excuses Ngannou. I'm not calling him Francis Ngannou anymore. It's excuses Ngannou. And everybody was talking about how much bigger he was than AJ. I was watching the fight again the other night. He actually looked like the smaller dude, even though he's 20 pounds heavier. He actually looked like it just didn't look like he was the bigger man in there. Little Bullet. Little Bullet. Got his finger on don't make him pull it. A ping pong player will never win Wimbledon. I couldn't have said it better. Ping pong player will never win Wimbledon. And an MMA fighter champion will never come over to the heavyweight division and beat our best. Not at all. Stallion says too many titles now. Who? WBC, IBF, etc. Bird Sugar said good jobs. There's only 26 letters in the. Oh, good thing there's only 26 letters in the alphabet, or there'll be more of these clowns. Exactly. Yeah, they. That's a funny. Bird always had them funny one-liners, man. Yeah, if there was any more letters, it'd be the RKW title. Like, okay, man, just all these belts, all these sanctioning fees. Quan Big Gun says, I'm sure Ngannou got tested after the fight. If he got drugged, it would come up on the test. I was about to say the same thing. If he was drugged, it would come up in the test, and unless Eddie Hearn and them had something to do with those tests. Lennox Lewis versus Anthony Joshua. I got Lennox the Lion Lewis. I got Lennox Lewis probably knocking out Anthony Joshua late. Tough fight though. Stallion says one belt for heavyweight should be, yeah, it should be one belt. One belt. You see AJ with all them belts, it was hard to even hold them. It's like Mike was saying, and Francis Ngannou, they should make a ring or something like a Super Bowl ring, something you can wear out. You can't really wear a belt out unless you put it over your shoulder. Deontay Wilder versus Buster Douglas. A prime Buster Douglas would actually give Wilder problems because he had a great jab and overhand right. I got Buster Douglas actually. I think he would have Wilder looking like Buster looked against Evander Holyfield. Buster had a great jab, and then he come over the top with that right, and he had some power behind it. Lighter weights 2, max 3. Yeah, I agree. Special case said, what did you think of that Moore versus Cooper? Oh man, that was tight. I watched that. I watched the whole fight. That was, man, a referee today would have stopped that fight way earlier. I like the ref. I wish he was still refing because he knew how to let that go. When Michael Moore went down one of those times today, that would have been called off. But that was a great fight. Just about any fight with Burt Cooper, you're going to get some action, like Ray Mercer versus Burt Cooper. Man, that fight was crazy. Thanks for that link, too. Shout out to you, Special K. Stallion says Mind Games really coming out with all the best, but like 50, he might just take his chain. Yeah, man. Little Bullet says I'm old enough to remember when it was title fighter money. Now it's money fighter title. Yeah. Money, money, money. Materialism is taking over, hasn't it? It's taken over music. It's taken over average everyday life. Um, Hard to get even a date now if you're not a millionaire. Riddick Bowe versus Anthony Joshua. Oh man, a prime. Man, that's a good one. Ooh. Riddick Bowe versus Anthony Joshua. I think Joshua's chin is a little better. I'm gonna go with Joshua. But man, I would have loved to seen it. Stein says, "Do you remember when Conor McGregor robbed Aldo's belt before the fight? Then knocked him out with the kick in 3 seconds." Yeah, I remember that. That was crazy. Speaking of Conor, what's going on with him? Is he still like? I hear there's some weird stuff going on with him in UFC and Dana White. Stein says, "Brutal. The whole world is brutal." Lil Bullet says, "Talking of music, what do you think of Ran?" You talking about MC Ran? Yeah, I always liked, I don't go with his religious beliefs, but he be talking crazy too. But as far as delivery and all that, yeah, MC Ran. Once Cube left the group, he kind of took over. Was it a kick or a punch? I think it was a punch. You talking about the Conor McGregor Aldo fight? I think it was a punch. It's been a while since I've seen it though. Speaking of MC Ren, shout out to Alonzo and Dusty Vision TV. Alonzo, who's responsible for all them dudes were recorded at his house. He said he didn't really know MC Ren too good out of the whole group. He's like he's one of the guys he never really talked to much, mainly Cube, Dre, and Yella and them. Oh no, the UK rapper Ren. Check him out. He's pretty good. Oh, I haven't even heard of him. I'm thinking you talking about MC Ren from the WA. I wondered though, because you capitalized it. Yeah, I don't know about him. Thought you was talking about MC Ren. Stallion Core. Why didn't Connor have another boxing fight? I think he was more technical than Ngannou. I understand. I had heard he had a little bit of bleeding on the brain after that Mayweather fight, and he probably thought if I'm having some health issues fighting Mayweather, I might want to chill out for a minute because Mayweather isn't known as a knockout puncher. He was hitting dudes hard in his early career before his hands got brittle, but you know, if you're getting bleeding on the brain from Mayweather, you might want to say goodbye to boxing. Anthony Joshua versus Ray Mercer. Ooh, tough fight. I got AJ though. Tough fight. Ooh, that's a real tough fight. Stallion says didn't know that. Yeah, man. I didn't hear it widely talked about myself, but it was definitely talked about. There was a fighter from the 90s. I don't know if you guys remember him, a heavyweight named Joe Macy, Mesi. He had had some bleeding on the brain and he continued to fight. And people were worried about his health. As far as I know, he was okay, but that's something you don't want to play around with. One good shot and you know. Stein says Connors had a spat with Paulie Malignaggi. That would have been a good fight. Battle of trash talkers. Oh, definitely. Yeah, Paulie just took a shot at him the other day. Special K says, I'm no MMA fan, but has anyone in the chat watched a Sean Strickland interview? That guy's funnier than. Oh, man, I was just having. Me and the wife were watching the interview he's doing with this lady, and that dude, I was like, I'm surprised cancel culture hasn't come out for this dude because he does not hold back. I even saw you see that thing where Sean Strickland was fighting some YouTuber or some influencer, and he was just letting the dude hit him for like a couple minutes. He's like, "Okay, I'm about to bring it on." Then he started loading on the dude. Somebody threw in the towel. Man, shout out to Sean Strickland, man. Don't agree with everything he says, but I like the fact that he's fearless in saying what he has to say. He's not going to be censored. So shout out to Sean Strickland. Emmanuel Broderick says Deontay Wilder's versus Frank. I got Wilder. I think one right from Wilder and Frank folds. I like Bruno, but Bruno didn't like pressure too much. Bruno could hurt Wilder. I just think Wilder could take it. Wilder versus Burt Cooper. I got Burt. Burt was underrated, man. Burt was he was like a almost like a I don't want to say a tougher version of Joe Frazier, but they used to call him Smoking Burt Cooper because his style was a lot like Joe Frazier. I got Burt Cooper. I didn't rate Paulie, but he was impressive in the Cotto fight talks. Some damaged and returned, some leather. Oh, there's some going back and forth, huh? I haven't seen much of Paulie Malignaggi. I saw him in the Adrian Bronner thing. Sean Strickland is hilarious. He's got no off switch. Yeah, that dude. That dude is. I had never heard of the dude, and I just saw one of his interviews. So then I kept pulling up all his interviews. I'm like, man, this dude is funny. He's not afraid to say what most people are scared to say, and you gotta like people like that in this day and age where everybody's tiptoeing around the truth. He definitely don't have an off switch. Shout out to Lil Bullet on that comment. Stein says, yeah, they did a documentary on the Magic Man versus Kodo. Should watch it. Oh, okay. For sure, man. He came to Manchester with braids like the Predator And the ref cut. Oh, I saw that where the ref cut them off mid fight. Yeah, I don't think I think I did see the whole fight, but I remember them cutting those braids out. He was talking about that. I saw him doing an interview about when they cut his braids out mid fight. I had never seen anything like that. See, that's the thing about boxing. You see things in boxing you don't see anywhere else. A parachute guy coming down, dudes getting hit with walkie talkies in the ring. You know, the Galata Riddick Bowe fight, all kind of Riddick Bowe kicking that dude in the middle of the fight in Tuesday night fights. Joshua versus Ikabe Abuchi, man. I'm gonna say a draw. I'm gonna say a draw. That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one, man. You be coming up with some great matches. Strickland says what most people are thinking. Yep. And you got to respect somebody like that because they'll try to shut you down nowadays if you talk too much truth. They're like, truth is a bad word now. He's okay, Paulie. I think he has boxing intelligence that makes for a great broadcaster. He tried bare knuckle not long ago. Yeah, he did. I think he lost a bare knuckle fight, but I had to give him props for even stepping in there. That stuff is brutal. I just saw a bare knuckle fight where you could literally see the guy's nose get broken with an uppercut. You see the bone in his nose shift. So bare knuckle fighting is no joke, man. That's something I don't really like it too much. It's kind of barbaric. You got to have more structure and rules in order to make it interesting. Emmanuel Broderick says, "Who do you think would win, Adesanya? I said Adesanya or Chamaev at middleweight? You know what, bro? I know Adesanya well, but I don't know the other guy. I'm sorry about that, man. I hadn't even heard of what's his name? Being the dude that stepped to John Jones recently. I hadn't even heard of this guy until he stepped to John Jones, and I went back and watched his highlight reel. I was like, oh, he's pretty good, but I hadn't even heard of him. But I've been on here almost 2 hours, though. I guess I'm gonna get off here, give you guys ears a break. Stallion says it's an Irish sport over bare knuckle. They settle family beefs. He who gives his hand means he accepts the defeat. Oh, okay. It's an Irish thing, huh? I did not know that. I did not know that. But yeah, I'm gonna get on up out of here, y'all. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Stallion Coy, Bon Scott, Addery, Lil Bullet, everybody. Sorry if I'm forgetting your names. These fights can go on for hours. I can imagine. I'll try to get the Irish champ's name. Okay, man. But I'm gonna get on up out of here. It's getting dark outside. I see my lighting is getting a bit shady. So thanks for watching. LSR forever. Make sure you beat down that like button, share, bring in people. And for you guys that have all this great knowledge, I hope you guys start boxing platforms yourselves. And I can come on you guys' channel and chop it up. Quan, yeah, shout out to you, Quan Big Guns. Peace to you. Hope you have a good night. LSR forever. Yeshua reigns supreme. Be fearless. Stallion Corey, peace to you. And I'm out.